What's up, witches? I'm Luna. Welcome to my channel. This is the third time I've hit the record button on a Mercury retro that is 2 days away from stationary. Had to eat a Halls because the pollen is so bad and I don't want to be coughing in your ear the whole time. I will try very hard not to. And please, don't mind the hum of the air conditioner. Here we go, it's summer. Anyhow, welcome to an unboxing. This is an Oracle unboxing today. Stick around to the end because I test drive every deck that I unbox, and we do a little deeper look at things than just a flip through. So here we go. Today it's the Oracle of the Trees, written by Francesca Romana Valente, illustrated by Mariuccia Diangio. Oracle of the Trees, deck and book set, same information there. Oracle of the Trees presents a global voyage among the sacred trees of numerous cults and cultures, past and present. This deck and book set expertly explores botanical wisdom from history, philosophy, myth, magic, and spiritual traditions, revealing the profound role trees, real or imagined, have had in our lives. From these stories, we learn how the tree can be understood as a bridge between man and the divine. Set includes 32 cards and a 156-page illustrated guidebook. Each tree's description includes botanical and historical information, symbology, keywords, meanings, and advice. I like that they put that on the back. Here's what you're going to get in the book. Instructions are also given for divination. Oracle of the Trees helps us discover our destiny by listening, as in the past, to what they are whispering to us. And you can see by the little fool here, it's U.S. Games 2021 is the copyright date. And, here we go again, Amazon, with the little dented corner. I keep saying I'll do something about it, and I just don't. There's a nice spring green inside. I love the colors. These are my favorite colors, green and blue. We have a ribbon pull. And just, looking at the art on the cover and the art on the cover of the book, it's a very delicate style. They're very delicate and kind of organic lines. Just beautiful, very detailed. And let's see. Let's read the dedication. I should read the dedications because that's when they tell us who it's for. Dedicated to those who believe in the magic of nature. Blessed be. All right. Blessed be to you too. So here's the intro. Let's see how long it is. If today we were to ask a number of people of various nationalities, culture, and religions, what is a tree, we would probably receive similar, possibly even identical answers. The dictionary defines as a tree. For many people, trees are just blah, 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 blah. But what is a tree really? What does it represent? The botanical sciences can help us describe with great precision the elemental aspects of trees. The chemical exchanges that they explain in detail, Science can explain all of that. But a tree is much more than a series of functions. It is a being with its own life. A tree, like a human, is born from a tiny seed. It grows, it lives, it reproduces, and it dies. Okay, so a tree is a witness of time. It's not surprising that in the past trees were invested with sacred meaning. Precisely for these various properties, trees in the past were regarded as being of divine nature, powerful allies of man, or at least as gifts from some benevolent god or goddess. Okay, so an ode to trees. The Oracle of the Trees presents a voyage among the sacred trees of various cultures with their symbology and their history as a means of understanding what still binds us to them and how they can help us discover our destiny by listening to what they are whispering to us. All right. A history made of trees. Talking about tree worship. The very ancient Phoenicians and their admiration of cedar trees, reflected today in the Lebanese flag. Talking about Jewish culture, the tree of life. And woods that were, entire woods that were sacred to the Romans, the Australians. So they definitely go cross-culturally to reference the reverence for trees. That's a pretty good background there. I should also say at the beginning of all of my videos, I'm not paid to do these. I'm not sent decks. I buy all of these with my own money or with my patrons' money. Look below for the link. Anyway, then we have preparing the cards, purifying the cards, basic items needed, white candle, coarse salt, bay leaf, a bit of cloth, grounding and centering, procedure for the ritual of purification, the consecration of the cards, method of the sacred tree. That's cool. It's nice that a lot of decks are starting to do include a ritual for blessing the deck that is in line with the context of the deck, you know, the theme of the deck, I should say. Celtic horoscope of the trees. Wow, I didn't know there were so many. How do I come out on this one? I come out willow. All right, willow or holly is what I end up. No, willow or vine. Anyway, procedure. And then we're into the cards. And as they said, there's a description, botanical information, symbology. Wow, lots of information. Keywords, upright meaning, and reversed meaning, and advice. Lots and lots and lots of information here. And then we have card spreads. The flower spread, the tree of life, the two oaks. Oh, I'm liking this. The leaf of destiny, and there's another one. I know there is. I guess not. And of course it doesn't show the page. Anyway, wow, I don't see anything. There's no information about the artist or the author. Practical suggestions and ethics for effective divination. Okay, so this back section is called divination. And we don't have any information about the artist and the author. Oh well. So let's set that aside. And here's the deck. So, backs, we've got a little inset for the deck. The back is just a beautiful little melange of leaves. U.S. Games copyright is down in each corner here. They're making it very hard to see, which is nice. Very covert, I guess I should say. All right, here's the tree of life with what looks like monarch butterflies. Yggdrasil. So we just, ooh, okay, so, you know, they talked about mythology. So right away, we're off and running with mythological trees. Here's Yggdrasil from Norse. And look at all of these look like kingdoms. I don't really know about Norse. And look at the reindeer here. A lot of things to key on. Here's the maypole. Oh, you know, and this is why I'll tell you if I recognize the actual card. But this is why I decided to go for this deck, because there are a lot of tree decks now. You know, anymore there are numerous decks to choose from, whatever theme you want to look for, it seems. And this one, you know, rather than having, you know, being like the Celtic tree alphabet, which are all actual trees, and I have another oracle that's mostly actual trees. I think they may all be actual trees, but here we have, this is a maypole. That, you know, it's only a tree in that there's the trunk of a tree used, but it's a tree that is used in a fertility rite and a springtime rite. Wow. And here's, oh my God, this is the one. This is the one. When I saw it, I said, I have to get this deck because it's not pulling punches. This is the hanging tree. Yeah, I like a deck that can bring up the unmentionables. The cemetery cypress. The weeping willow. Look how beautiful the art is. The palette is narrow. You know, so far it's all kind of greens, you know, a palette of yellows to greens. blues. There's a little bit of pink, the fig tree, but it's subtle. The coloring is subtle. So this has to be Romulus and Remus, and the wolf, the she-wolf that nurtured them, I'm imagining. The tree of the desert. The tree of knowledge. See? This is why. So, if you're going to look at the meaning of trees, why not do what they're doing? Dive into the cultural, mythical meanings of trees. The dry tree. Is that like fucking Gondor? I have to find out. Is that Gondor? Tree of the desert. Okay. The card shows a dry tree alone in a most unusual landscape. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to read the whole thing right now. A dry tree is the protagonist of a curious medieval legend. It appears in the Gospel of Matthew. Well, it is not Gondor. Oh, well. Okay. Still, very interesting that we are pulling directly from mythology. The hollow tree. I don't know who or what that is. Look at the owl. I mean, was it Merlin that was buried in a blasted oak, a hollow oak? The pomegranate tree. That's the cover of the book. And the oak tree. Oops. The bay tree. And look at the laurel wreath. And a lyre, I guess. The olive tree. The Christmas tree. The palm tree. The Judas tree. So is there a Judas tree, or are they just talking about the tree mythologically that Judas hanged himself from? Grapevines. Oh! And I guess if you grow grapevines old enough, I'm looking outside because we have a huge old one that comes up into the tree, out of reach. The Bodhi tree. So that's the tree under which the Buddha attained enlightenment. The kapok tree. Obviously Mesoamerican. The peach tree. The wishing tree. The little ribbons, very, very subtle, but there are little ribbons tied. Yeah. Pardon me. The Paradoxian tree. I want to know. Oh, I want to know. So this deck comes with an education. And what's really nice is that you can read all of the background stuff, or you can go straight to keywords. It's an imaginary tree cited in Physiologus and some medieval legends. Despite its author being unknown, the Physiologus can be dated to the 2nd century CE, presumably written near Alexandria in Egypt. It gives a description of animals, plants, both real and fabled, paired with biblical passages, moral observations, and mystical and religious interpretation of its symbols. It has a tree in India with the mystical property of attracting doves with its sweet fruit, while at the same time keeping away snakes. According to the text, the dragon fears the tree's shade, but is obsessed with devouring the doves. The doves that stay within the shade of the tree are protected, but those that venture beyond it are inevitably killed by the dragon. According to the interpretation provided, the doves represent Christians safe from evil, the serpent, only if they remain within the sanctuary of the church, the tree, only if they remain in the shadow. The faithful who step away from it thus become prey of the devil. In other interpretations given in medieval legends, the tree is God himself, the shade is Jesus, and the berries symbolize the Holy Spirit. Lots of Greco-Roman, Judeo-Christian stuff here. I mean, other than Yggdrasil. The tree of Zakum. And I don't know that legend or myth. The tree of the dead. The Sitka spruce. The mistletoe. And mistletoe isn't a tree itself, it grows in trees. Okay. The elm tree. It's like a Templar. The giant reed. The tree of porphyry. Aristotle, Porphyrio, Pietro Ispano, Boisio, Plato, Animal Corpo. There's all kinds of stuff on here. Uomo, animals, man, body, mind, I think. I don't know. The family tree. Wow. So interesting so far. And what I mean by interesting really is they're different. It's a different slant than the other couple tree oracles that I have. And while I really love decks like the Herbal Tarot that are rooted in actual, botany and plants and herbalism and stuff for that wealth of information, variety is the spice, is it not? Let's give it a bit of a bless. So I'm sitting here lighting this, I've become aware of just how much noise there is around me. I hope if you're wearing headphones it doesn't drive you insane. Right. By air and fire may you be protected, purified and charged. And by water and earth may you be blessed and made whole. By the sound of the bell, oops, a little more. May the spirit awaken within you. And guides and guardians, allies and ancestors, thank you for everything you do for me. Your presence here help me to connect with this deck and bring good messages forth that will be helpful and insightful and timely for my viewers. I offer you fresh water and I offer you the fire of Azrael, which also brings in the spirit of divination. So once that gets going, am I lit? Oh God, I hope I'm lit. I think it is. I can't tell because this one's still smoking. All right, let's try a shuffle. This is going to be easy. Look at the size of the deck. It's not much bigger than regular playing cards, and it's only 32 cards. So I am anticipating 0 issues with shuffling. We'll see. There we go. Just a little bit stiff, but obviously they'll loosen up with use. So I'm not going to do any of the spreads in the back of the book, though I will pick one and read the categories and how they're labeled to see kind of how that works. But they're kind of long readings. All right. So the smallest one, so it's talking about how to approach and, get down in your body and all that. The flower spread. So 1 is the heart of the question, particularly useful for a detailed examination of a specific problem. Heart of the question, direct causes of the problem, the past and its influence on the problem, the present, evolution in the short-term future, evolution in the long-term future, and result. Then the tree of life. So they get very long. So I think I'm just going to do a 3 card. and ask. After I'm giving it a little toast with the fire of Azrael. Okay, 3 cards, please. A message for the collective, a message for my viewers. What do we need to know right now? What do we need to know right now? Where we are individually and collectively in our evolution. I'm going to take 3 off the top. Where are we? What do we need to know right now? All right. No jumpers. Usually when I've got my eyes closed, jumpers are prone. But we have the hollow tree, the peach tree, and the family tree. Now, obviously, I can't go at this intuitively because I don't know what these represent. So, the hollow tree first. Now, this is a lot. I may not read the whole thing, but let's take an example here. So, the description. In the foreground of the card, we see the knotty trunk of a massive tree standing alone against the backdrop of a typical Italian town surrounded by fields. At the base of the tree, there is a large dark opening from which flows a freshwater spring, so that is water flowing. On top of this opening, we can see another big cavity in the trunk of the tree from which an enormous owl, symbol of wisdom, is peeking out, hiding in the safety of his dark shelter. Far from being a negative symbol, so here's the symbology. Far from being a negative symbol, as might be presumed at first glance, the hollow tree is traditionally associated with the idea of birth, rebirth, and abundance. Perhaps its appearance reminds us of a mother's womb. Along these same lines, the hollow tree also evokes a sense of mystery, a dark, unknown space that may be frightening but might also be a doorway to another dimension or perhaps simply a refuge. Hollow trees, as large ancient olive trees often are no less useful than other more intact trees. On the contrary, these trees have a fundamental role in the forest, offering refuge to small animals that nest in them or as reservoirs for rainwater, thus becoming drinking troughs for the inhabitants of the wood. For alchemists, a hollow oak was the first source of the fountain of youth, as we see in the illustration of this card. This legendary fountain is mentioned in various medieval manuscripts, cited even by the famous alchemist Nicholas Flamel. We also encounter a hollow tree in medieval Tuscan tradition. The legend recounts how the blessed Vivaldo of San Gimignano made himself a small cell inside the trunk of a chestnut tree in the nearby Camparina forest where he lived before he died on May 1st, 1330. Okay, so I like that. First of all, we don't identify the kind of tree. It's just a hollow tree. And they suggest a number of ways that it can be regarded, and I love that. A sense of mystery. It's or a refuge, or a doorway, or a womb, or, very good things. So the key words here: new perspectives, unexpected opportunities, protection, acquisition of a new home, stabilization of a bond, a lovely surprise, unexpected help, and hidden feelings. Okay, still a lot to go. The upright meaning. Drawing the hollow tree card represents, okay, so I wish that those keywords brought back some of the things like transformation, death, rebirth. Those were suggested in the symbology, but they don't show up in the keywords. Puzzled. Drawing the hollow tree card, this is upright meaning, represents the arrival of unexpected news, of positive surprises in the life of the seeker. The 2 mysterious openings in the trunk of the tree represent a break in routine for those who consult the cards. There is a small door that opens unexpectedly in the middle of a trail that the seeker thought they knew well, but the door leads them somewhere else. It is an opportunity that takes them completely by surprise at a moment when they're perhaps engaged with other issues or interests. It could mean the arrival of help that they could never have expected, or a professional opportunity outside the field of their experience. Okay. What's puzzling me about this part is the third person. the seeker, the door that opens unexpectedly in the middle of the trail that the seeker thought they knew well. But isn't the seeker you? Can they speak directly to me is what I would like to hear. If the question's about relationships, the card is an excellent omen reflecting feelings that are returned to the stabilization of a current relationship. If the question is specific, the card can also represent the acquisition of a home. The hollow tree can also inform them that they will soon discover that someone has feelings for them, even if that person is trying not to let it show. More generally, the card indicates this is a fortunate time, one during which the seeker can count on the protection of their lucky star. I get the protection part, but these meanings don't seem to jive at all with the symbology that they just gave us. Fountain of youth, regeneration, renewal, this water pouring forth here. I'm just puzzled. I don't really, it seems like the meaning is coming out just out of left field from the context that they just very carefully set up. All right, reverse. Drawing the hollow tree reverse sends a warning to be wary of unclear situations and people who are not well known by the seeker. They should not walk in with blind trust, but should make a careful evaluation. At the same time, the card advises them to remain vigilant and prepared not to let the precious opportunities slip away or be stolen. If the question is on matters of the heart, this card reverse can allude to a dark or hidden side of the person of interest. Okay, the dark and hidden thing I get. Advice. Every door that opens along our path is a gift of fate to be received with gratitude. Okay, so there's the doorway. There's the advice. And I guess, and they're talking about opportunities showing up, so that is a doorway. I wish they connected those words together, because you can make the connections, but I wish they made it more obvious. It would be a lot easier to retain the information. Usually you would think when you learn about what the symbol is and its origins and the myths it comes from that you would automatically understand here's the meaning, but I'm kind of stretched. Okay, let's try another. It's great information. So I'm trying to think what I would take away if I did situation, action, outcome kind of thing. What's the situation here? Collectively, that we have an opportunity, that a doorway has opened before us. Let's just leave it at that. Let's make it nice and simple. The peach tree. The card depicts a young woman in traditional Chinese garb, gracefully floating along in a little cloud full of flowers. She is the goddess Shi Wang Mu, the queen mother of the West. Her beautiful hair is adorned with peach flowers to symbolize spring, while many ribbons dance around her in the air. The woman is holding in her hand a small tray with 3 ripe peaches. Behind her stands a solitary peach tree in bloom. In the background is the profile of the imposing Kunlun Mountains. So the peach tree belongs to the Rosaceae family and is indigenous to China. From China, the tree arrived in Persia and then to Europe. That's why in certain Italian dialects, the peach tree is known as persica, or coming from Persia. All right, peach trees of modest dimensions. So this is botanical information. So we have the peach tree, we have the botanical information. So when it is an actual botanical tree, we get that. Cool. Symbology, sacred in Asia, particularly in China where it's associated with goddess Shi Wang Mu. She's a mythological feature whose traits and characteristics are not consistently described. It's hardly surprising given her ancient origins. She was a dispenser of prosperity and blessings. She's still today the Chinese Spring Festival, which coincides with the Chinese New Year, begins with the blossoming of peach trees. I'm not going to read all things. Keywords, new love. So here we go with love again. Reciprocated feelings. Emotions, satisfaction, easy relationships, contracts, marriage. Okay. It's written that Shi Wang Mu met and loved King Mu of the Zhou dynasty, as well as the first emperor of the blah blah blah. The garden that surrounds her is full of peach trees. Fortunate are the few who eat from it. The peach is an attribute of the Queen Mother of the West. I'm looking for things about marriage here. Okay. Upright meaning. This card is particularly tied to the realm of feelings and emotions. The card of the peach tree is very positive, especially if the question relates to matters of the heart. The card indicates a new love, finally meeting the right person, and the beginning of a solid, happy relationship. In this context, the peach tree is the best card that can be drawn. If the seeker is single, the card reveals they will soon meet someone who will change their life. Can we get away from matters of the heart and give an alternative here? The seeker is already in a relationship but having some doubts. This card should serve to reassure them that love is real despite the passing storms that may be causing doubts. Combined with other cards, such as the olive tree and the oak tree, it represents a perfect union. Okay, if the question is work-related, the card is still an excellent omen, symbolizing work that impassions the seeker in a positive and pleasant environment where they can meet interesting people. What about... Okay. And reversed is romance-related problems. Advice: do not be discouraged by small difficulties. Value the fruit of your love as the sweetest and most precious in the world. That's pretty specific. And for the collective here, I would take away from that to just value the sweetness of life. Put your focus in the present moment, because we can also go past, present, future. Opportunities open every time we decide to be in the present and focus on the good that's in front of us. Focus on the juice of life, the sweetness of life. And, you know, with peaches, I mean, this is a seasonal thing. One of the things in our modern world that has really served to disconnect us from nature is the fact that we can get fruits at any time of the year, whether they're in season or out of season. When I was a kid, there was a certain time of year that you got grapes, and you didn't get grapes at other times of the year. And then I remember when Granny Smith apples came out, because you could get them in the wintertime because they were grown in the southern hemisphere. And then suddenly, worldwide shipping, and we can get any kind of fruits pretty much any time of year. And you know, there still are very seasonal things like strawberries and blueberries and things like that, but we still can get them. So looking at this card and thinking about opportunities, we have to take advantage when the opportunity, when the doorway opens. And that doorway might be a very small, you know, open for a very short period of time. So we have to take advantage of the opportunity when it presents itself. And if it is a cyclical thing that comes and goes with the seasons, then we need to be more aware of those cycles so that we know, you know, what's coming, and we can be ready to take advantage of an opportunity. All right, the family tree. So yeah, they're interesting. There certainly is an awful lot of information in each card, and that's very much appreciated. There's very fertile ground. I'm looking at the positives here, and there are many. There's a lot to draw on. Now, that last one was pretty damn specific, and I would have appreciated something a little broader. Here's what this applies to if you're not asking about work or love. So anyway, but there is meaning that can be drawn from all of that context information. The family tree. This last card in the deck illustrates a large family tree. Among the leaves are displayed the portraits of the members of this imaginary family, branching off from the trunk, bearing the portrait of the family's founders, up to the topmost leaves where we find the youngest descendants. Symbology. The image of the tree lends itself well to the symbolic and simplified representation of relatives, unions, descendants, and ascendants of a family. The genealogical tree also gives us a sense of passing time, symbolized by the slow growth of the tree for years, even centuries. Just like the tree's leaves, the generations succeed each other in time. They are born, they grow, they die, and the eternal cycle continues, connecting past, present, and future. As a family has its origins in the past and is preserved in the future, so a tree is born from its base, firmly anchored to the soil by its roots, and grows up branch by branch from the oldest to the newest, finally to arrive at its sky-reaching crest. The genealogical tree symbolically represents the importance of our origins, of their definitive weight as they are passed on from generation to generation, influencing the future. It also symbolizes family ties, memories, affection, and place of origin. So the keywords are important bonds, family, nostalgia, influence of the past, memories, return to origins. Upright, meaning the family tree card, refers to the importance of the past in general, to family, place of origin, and all the past experiences of the seeker. The card is rather neutral in nature and indicates that the seeker has strong ties to their family of origin or to their past in general. If the question's regarding a specific problem, the card suggests turning to relatives, dear ones, or to the close friends who have accompanied them for long stretches of life. The card can also suggest the solution is now, the solution may be found in a similar experience from their past. The card frequently reminds us of the importance of holding our past close in memory, learn from experience, not repeat old errors. Card encourages us to live in the present, cautioning us to avoid getting lost in excessive nostalgia. I would think that would be in the reverse meanings. Situation for which we are being consulted is greatly influenced by the past. So yeah, the reverse is just talking about being too influenced by the past. Advice: keep well rooted to the ground, but do not be afraid to reach your limbs to the sky. Okay, I like the that idea of legacy and rootedness. So let's try to expand that to the collective and our collective story. So we're talking about opportunities opening and being able to partake of the juice of life. And then we have the family tree. I think, when you do build your memories in the present moment, and from the small stuff as well, and you're really enjoying life, I guess the kind of person that allows you to be is something that can have an effect down the line. If we take it on its own, we could talk about just really looking at our own family trees, looking at our own legacies, looking at maybe there's an opportunity ahead of us here to I want another one for this. This is like just auspiciousness. So I'm having trouble linking these. Opportunity and opportunities that bear fruit down the line. Okay. So we have an opportunity here in the here and now to take action that will bear fruit down the line. These are almost like a Lenormand reading. They kind of make a sentence, and I think I was looking at them as the wrong parts of speech. So there's an opportunity that, if we go about life in the present moment in gratitude, appreciating all that we have, we can take these opportunities and they will bear fruit that resonates down the generations, resonates down the line. If the majority of us can adopt a way of living that is rooted in gratitude and rooted in kindness and compassion and reverence for nature and the conservation of nature and the, equal access to the necessities of life for everybody, regardless. The equal access to love and family. If we can, the majority of us can live our lives in that way, it can resonate down the generations. That's what I'm taking from it. It is a very interesting oracle. What do you guys think? What did you get from these cards and their meanings? If you got like a whole different reading and it's absolutely screaming at you, please post below, because I would like to see what you got. It is kind of a puzzling deck, but there's a lot of information to draw on, and I really do love. I want to look up hanging tree. What was another one? I'm looking to see the number of it. Tree of life, tree of the dead. What's the hanging tree about? Wow. I won't read the description of the picture. The most famous, sadly, hanging tree in European history is perhaps the so-called Tyburn tree. So there's a myth about that. And it's talking about the English Civil War. Nothing, interestingly, I was looking for some references to the South in the U.S., but that's not there. Symbology. Talking about the Hanged Man. All right, I'm not going to read. Change, new perspectives, different approach, spiritual renewal, abandonment of old habits, sacrifice, effort, and commitment, bad luck that brings good outcomes. It's going to be interesting to work with, that's for sure. Okay, tell me what you think. Please, oh please, let's have a conversation. Post down below. Also, if you would like me to read for you specifically, hit the Amazon wish list below and pick something off of it, and Amazon lets you put a little note in. If you want, you can put a specific question and I will read on that question for you. If not, it'll just be a general reading but centered on you. All right, what a deal. Thanks so much. Hit the like button if you would be so kind on your way out, and I will see you next time. Until then, this is Luna. Blessed be.